let's say that the whole BlackRock scheme is a scam. Let's say Ms. Warren cooked up with Larry, hey, let's create this ETF. Let's go buy up all the Bitcoin. And then I'll pass a bill and we'll seize it. Okay, now let's think about this for a second. If they were to do that, they'd have to get it through Congress. But let's say they could get it through Congress. It'd be kind of hard, but let's say they could. They'd be seizing it not from the drug dealers and the terrorists, but from the boomers who vote for them, the pension funds, the foundations, the widows and orphans who own the shares of those ETFs. But let's say they said, fuck it, we're going to do that anyway. As long as they don't get 100%, all the value of the network goes to what's left. But I think the likelihood that one entity could ever get all of it is zero. I mean, it's just impossible because they're not getting mine, right? Probably not getting yours. And there's a few people that just aren't going to sell. And everybody says, well, there's a price at which you would sell. Yeah, there probably is. There probably is. And at that point, I'd have enough fiat that I could, be comfortable and do what I want. But even then, there probably are some people who say, it's not about the money. I'm never going to sell.
No one, not even BlackRock or MicroStrategy, can ever have full control of Bitcoin because its very design makes it unstoppable. That's the latest message from Mark Yusko, the founder, CEO, and CIO of Morgan Creek Capital Management. Bitcoin is decentralized, globally distributed, and held by millions of individuals who refuse to let go. Even if one entity tried to buy up as much as possible, the value of the network would flow to those who continue to hold. As long as there are believers who won't sell, Bitcoin will remain beyond the reach of any single entity, no matter how powerful they are. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video, as Mark Yusko shares why no one can ever control Bitcoin and reveals his 2025 price target. Also guys, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto world, I send out a daily 5-minute crypto newsletter that covers expert predictions, on-chain data breakdowns, and breaking news all for free. Click the first link in the description, enter your email, and join 50,000 plus others to become a better crypto investor right now. Now here's Mark Yusko with his Bitcoin outlook.
On the same token, as BlackRock, any concerns about Saylor and the amount of debt he's raising and all these bonds he's issuing? I'm a bit worried because I guess, is it leverage? I don't know. I'm a bit worried there. Not that he's buying Bitcoin, just the amount of debt he's raising to buy it.
Yeah, but remember, it's not like unsecured debt. It's debt secured by Bitcoin. And the beautiful thing is he buys more Bitcoin than the amount of equity and debt he issues. So he's capturing extra value every time he does one of those transactions, and his debt has no cost and it's convertible. So at the end of the day, look, leverage cuts both ways. You are 100% right to be nervous about leverage, but there's a level of leverage that is very prudent. And he's nowhere close to the high end of that. There's a level of leverage that's stupid, right? Think about a mortgage. If you put 20% down, 80% mortgage, 4-to-1 leverage, it's totally prudent. Why? Well, because you don't mark to market your house every day. So it's totally prudent. Bitcoin, an 80 vol asset with minute to minute liquidity, probably 4-to-1 is a little bit high. So 1.5 to 1, 1.25 to 1, 1.8 to 1, whatever. There's some number that's probably right. Now, if you go to, the Bitfinex guys or whoever the bad guys were that were doing 50-to-1 leverage or 100-to-1 leverage on Bitcoin, no, that's stupid, right? That's dumb. Yeah, I shouldn't out my little brother about this, but he called me up one day and says, they stole my Bitcoin. I'm like, what? He said, Bitfinex. Like, stop. No one stole your Bitcoin. You borrowed way too much. You got a margin call. You couldn't meet it, and they took the collateral. That's not stealing. Now, if the purpose of the business was to do that, right, to lure people in to get over levered and then take their Bitcoin, okay, maybe that is theft. But no one twisted his arm to make that trade. Leverage is a very dangerous tool above a certain level. At an appropriate level, particularly asset-backed leverage, if I'm levering up a company that's all based on fashion and people's taste could change, that's bad. If I'm levering up a depreciating asset, like a car, pretty bad. If I'm levering up a house that appreciates, it's actually a pretty good trade.
Leverage is a double-edged sword, and Michael Saylor's debt strategy walks a fine line. On one hand, Saylor is playing smart, using low-cost, convertible debt secured by Bitcoin to capture more value than he issues. It's a calculated move that allows him to accumulate Bitcoin aggressively while staying far from reckless leverage levels. But as Mark Yusko points out, leverage is only safe up to a point. Bitcoin's high volatility means even prudent strategies carry risk. The difference between smart and dangerous leverage comes down to scale. Saylor's approach is far from the insane 50x or 100x leverage that's brought down traders before. When used properly, leverage on appreciating assets like Bitcoin can be a strong play, but push it too far, and it turns into a ticking time bomb. What do you think of Michael Saylor's strategy? Would you call it advisable? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now let's return to Mark Yusko for more of his insights.
All-time high, you're about 150, 160?
Yeah, I mean,
the Fibonacci and Elliott wave is showing a bit higher, but no one can call these.
I come to 150 based on, I think fair value by April, May next year is around 100. I think we go 50% above fair value because of the gamblers. And because I don't think there's as much leverage this time. Usually we get 2 times fair value, so that would be 200. But I think we get to 150, and then we have the correction. And how much below fair value do we go next time? Probably not as far as the last 2 times where we got 50% below fair value. So I don't see a retrace all the way to 50, but probably to 75-ish, something like that. We're about 13-14% in, on the way to 100. And the next 8 years, we're going to go from 14% to 80. That's a mind blower, right? But that's how S curves work.
Right.
They start slow, takes 10 years to get 10%, and then you get another 80% in 10 years, and then the last 10% takes a long time. And so I think the adoption is going to continue to accelerate. The FOMO will kick in. It's not just FOMO, it's just most people haven't done the work, which is amazing when you think about it. I mean, you've done the work, and I've done the work, and other people have done the work. People watching the show have done the work. But the vast majority of people, like I was at Bitcoin 2024 down in Nashville, and they had the lanyard, and it had little Bitcoins on it, and it had circles around the B, like a record album, like the old LP, black disc. And I'm standing in front of this barbecue joint to get lunch, and the receptionist says, "Oh, are those beehives?" I'm like, wow. I mean, the conference is going on right there. There's 20,000 Bitcoiners in town. And I'm not making fun of her. I mean, she just had no reason to understand or appreciate or know what, she didn't care. I mean, no one had told her about it. And this is after 15 years of it being around. Eventually, she's going to say, "Oh, yeah, I know what Bitcoin is." And after, the 10-minute conversation with me and the other 4 people, that she probably did at least know part of it. Right. There was another one. I was at an event the other day, and it was a Bitcoin event. And the bartender came over. She was talking with us, and she said, "I just don't really understand this Bitcoin thing. Can you explain it to me?" And he said, and one of the guys said, and this is great. He said, "Well, you were here a month ago when we did this monthly event, and all of us who tipped you in cash in the last month, that amount of tips is now worth less. Had we tipped you in Bitcoin, if you had a little QR code and we tipped you in Bitcoin, it would be worth more." And literally, like, her head exploded right there in front of us. I mean, it was like, oh my God, they stole my money. They, right? They, the evil government, and it clicked. And she's like, how do I get a QR code? And one of the guys set up a little QR code and they set it up there. And I think she got some tips in Bitcoin. So that's a really incremental journey. But just like in 1998, the average person who heard of Google was like, what do I need the number 21 search engine for? Ask Jeeves, Alta Vista, web crawler. I don't need Google. That's stupid.
In other news, Bitcoin has surged past its previous all-time high, soaring above $106,000, following a bold announcement from newly elected US President Donald Trump, confirming his positive plans for Bitcoin. Now, reports suggest that Russia may move ahead of the US by establishing its own Bitcoin reserve, while analysts warn the Federal Reserve could face its biggest nightmare of stagflation in 2025. Apollo's chief economist, Torsten Slok, worries that 2025 could mirror the 1970s SS, with inflation rising as a result of premature policy easing. Mounting US debt, which surpassed $34 trillion at the start of 2024, has only added to fears of a potential economic crisis. Despite these warnings, the Federal Reserve is expected to cut interest rates soon, with economists predicting additional cuts through 2025. However, some experts argue that the Fed will take a more cautious approach due to the Trump administration's expected policies, including tariffs, tax cuts, and deregulation, which could reignite inflation concerns. Nevertheless, the Fed's anticipated rate cut has provided fresh momentum for Bitcoin, driving its price higher. Analysts see potential for continued gains, with FX Pro's Alex Kupcikevich noting that Bitcoin's move into all-time high territory confirms the bullish bias. He added that a further acceleration in growth is likely unless unexpected disruptions from traditional markets derail the rally. Now, don't forget, if you want guidance through the exciting but sometimes unpredictable world of cryptocurrency, our daily 5-minute crypto newsletter is here to help. Don't pass up the chance to stay updated and make informed choices in the crypto market. The link is in the description below. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that it provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.